Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Beterian Republic. Episode, whatever episode it is. Yes, yes, it's the mighty Beterians in the world of Reassembly. We move so slowly, do we not? Perhaps it is because we have the Centakava sitting in our databanks, oh, so sensuously. Our mighty warships. The Beterian dreadnought, not yet finalized, but it could still perhaps... Oh, take many more weapon systems. Many more weapon systems. I do believe this was a terrible use of what could be filled with weaponomic destructivity. Now, I do wish to impose a little bit of Beterian logic here. Beterian logic in so much states that we require a certain level of Bataria. Now, Bataria is very difficult, in fact universally understood to be incredibly difficult to acquire, simply due to the nature of Bataria. Bataria is a sort of finicky, weird sort of element that one does not necessarily find in any quarter market store, or even in a half market store. Necessarily, or full market store is completely out of the question. Regardless of such, let us proceed to now build a spaceship that looks ever so slightly better than, last time. Because this back half looks far too bland for a mighty Beterian battlecraft. I want to add a bit of fizz and panaz, which, is just sort of the way this works. It's just the way Laps does. Now, I want to fill in all these gapkies, because I don't like it, but at the same time, I like it. I really like it, but I don't. So, I'm just going to have to suffice with slight madness. Oh, yes, perfect. You see, you can never keep a true Beterian commander down. You cannot suppress the Beterians. The Beterians are mighty Beteria. And what? Of course oh my gosh. Lamps, please, just stop. Just stop before you lose yourself. I never had myself. How sad. Anyway. One day I shall find my logical side, and we shall get along perfectly well, I'm sure. But until those such days, we will need to suffice with a slightly more radical restructuring of our current build synopsis. As you can see, it is functionally irregular, and slightly prone to destructivity. If this were to be smucken, which is the sort of reverberant desalinization of the word striked, or smited, this entire thing would absolutely go haywire and cease to exist for longer than 35 seconds, which is a record numeric if you do consider most Beterian survival standards. Anyway, regardless of such things, let us proceed to put, I don't know, we have sufficient point defense, I would presume. We have an 8000p Dreadnought, but it lacks certain 8000p, if you know what I mean. Now, we have a lot of power generation, but simultaneously we lack enough Spookel, if one understands what I mean by Spookel. Now, let's just put a lot of schmaggle here. Now, you see, schmaggle and Spookel are completely different. Spookel constitutes your normal weaponomic variety, whereas schmackle is sort of the things used to schmackle along with things. Use like sprinkling, although more silly sounding and vastly more immature. Smackling, one could presumed to be taken as a very meta and inordinate way of defeating your enemy with as little honor as is even possible. So basically not at all how we do it around here. But regardless of such thing, connect to the right bractilium, please. Right. Now. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Just kind of working on looks right now. I really want this to have a sort of more Beterian feel to it, It doesn't have enough variety in shape. It doesn't have enough movement of form. It's very, very straight. It's very it's far too linear, if that would be a decent way of describing it. Now, I just realized that the other half of this missile rack is missing. And I don't know how I did it, but it has happened, apparently. Oh, listen to that music. That is mind-blowingly good. makes me want to cry, actually, which is the weird part about reassembly. Anyway, right. Not lacking in any structural integrity, is it? It's going to disallow any plants from routing to our devices, you see. This is a warship, not a planting ship. Any plants are to be dissuaded immediately. This I absolutely hate. This looks wretched. Wretched, boring, inefficient. I hate it. Ugh. Refactor it. Refactor it now. That is a surprisingly satisfying shape. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. That works nicely. Oh, by the very ways of existence, that looks very nice. Surprisingly, it clicks together perfectly. Now, I do need to add a little bit more structure to this, purely because otherwise it's not going to be velocivient, which is literally just a silly and fancy way of saying strong, basically. Sturdy. Don't try to get away with that word in a writing essay, it will not work. Okay. I like velocivient. It's a strange word, you won't find it anywhere. Because I made it up! No. Well, yes, actually. I enjoy myself sometimes, sorry. Right. Oh, it looks much better. Look at that. I think you all have to agree with me. That looks miles better than whatever the hell I had going on before. Which is, I suppose, a sad thing to admit, but yes, this looks miles better. Actually, I'd honestly say it looks quite pleasant on the eyes. Shielding does kind of annoy me, but I suppose what else can be done? A med beam would not be the worst idea, although adding on to this cost any more might begin to shake certain things in an unpleasant direction. Right, okay. Right. That's pleasing. That's pleasing. That's not an unwieldy shape. I'll give it that. Ugh. Ugh. Discord, be quiet. Things I always forget to mute in the background. They come back to haunt me. Whether it's Skype or Discord or what have you. Always something. This actually provides me with a genuinely pleasant... at least it could have. It could have if I had designed it properly. You see, this could be a perfect little thruster port, but unfortunately, due to the way this... I don't need to explain it, do I? You can tell. Right, now this thing isn't going to be able to hold up to much, but what it can hold up to is at least looking better than it would have. Oh, okay. Well, randomness had its way there. I did not do that. But it ended up looking quite pleasing, so I'll leave it to it. Yes, I rather think so. Okay, well. Let's see how I can make this go. Kind of wish I could use a bit of Beterian shield spike, but I understand it's not necessarily of this faction's caliber. Calibrates. Ooh. That is a pleasing mantle. Mantle? Well, structural addition, I should say. But fortunately, this is some uber redundant armor, but I mean, what can be done sometimes? Sadly, sometimes it is better to enjoy oneself. Sorry, I'm just leaning too bad. I'm leaning in a very bad way on my chair, and it's actually kind of hurting me slightly. I wonder if you can hear the creaking, because it does creak. It creaks damn loudly. But oh well, it's my lovely old chair now. I got a new one some time ago, but it's all the way over at a different place, which is unfortunate. Right now, I haven't seen it for months. Anyway, okay. Ba-dum, bum ba-dum, 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 bum ba-dum, bum ba-dum, bum ba-dum, bum ba-dum, ba-dum. I love this music. So silly and lovely. Alright, no, that's excellent. I'm going to call this Vitarius Majorion. Or Majorion. I mean, you can say major, you can say major. Like, I mean, in the end, it's up to your to your English schooling. Right. Alright, I'll be back in a little bit when I have resources to fuel my monstrous building efforts. Yes, unfortunately I'm trying to wage war against some of these ships from Skipper, LB. And it's not going well for me, sadly. Well, it's not going well for it anymore. My Mephilic barrage is starting to hit it hard. Yeah, take that, you cheeky little ship. Okay. Okay, enough anger. I'll be back later. cultivating another of the great Beterian space farms. A calming experience. No war or deprivation of solace, only pure sanity. Well, sort of, I mean, to a degree. These seeds are quite reckless. And maniac, and despite all the armor I've placed on these unobtainium struts, and in fact, well, never mind. There are unfortunately some areas I could never get at. Anyway, we now should, I believe, nearly have enough. Ooh, just short a few. Just short a nifty, short a nifty 100. Yes, a nifty 100. Feel free to use that in conversation. Okay. Wait for that to build. All systems complete, Commander. Fantastic. Construct for us a Batarius Major. Major, Major, doesn't matter. I say major, but I felt like saying Major for once. My English teacher was so proud of me. Shame. Actually, the ship looks surprisingly fetching with these large tanks on its side, which is not, you know, not the worst idea. I was trying to make these more of a permanent fixture. It might actually look quite appealing. Alright, not the worst attempt. At least it sort of looks like it could belong. Sort of. There's only so much I can really do. I mean, short of being able to connect it to this area, I just have to sort of work with it. Anyway. Oh. That would have... Oh, you can see what just being a bit silly can do. You can see vastly better outcomes just from simple accident. Sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes you can stumble across something that will look better but actually be completely worse. That can happen. It just depends how scrutinous you're being with your stuff. Oh, I love my Uber weave. It looks quite lovely, don't you think? Tell me it looks lovely. It looks nice and it's surprisingly effective, actually. Should probably add a bit of Uber weave to the front of this thing. I never did. You know, I never added Uber weave to the front of this, and that is a punishable offense. Uber weave is mandatory for, you know, these ships. Especially a darn warship of this class. And it's obligatory. Well, basically, I mean, mandatory and obligatory. Whatever. Just don't think about it. Right. This is gonna cost majorly. But who cares? This is a mighty Beterian warship. Should probably have a little bit of fall off. Slowly. Can't remember how I structure it in my other systems, which is pretty bad. This is sort of the repeating Genilion, but not necessarily. Should be able to slot in multiple places. Yes, that works perfectly. So then, this corresponds to that. That corresponds to that. With that. Perfect! That went over more smooth than I had expected. In fact, I'm actually kind of tempted to just leave it like that, because that on its own looks like a surprisingly interesting construct. I like it. I really do, actually. There's going to be a weird little fixture on the sides. One never knows, one never knows. One never knows. Doesn't look that terrible. It just, I suppose I'm saying that because it actually just looks very interesting. And less so that it doesn't look kind of out of place. I really want to see if I can put it somewhere along here. Like just there. But so either I remove that block or remove that. I don't want to do either. Yeah, I see. Okay, I'll do that then. I'll play by your rules, game. I'll play by your rules. Oh, that actually looks. Clip detection, clip detection. Only skilled artists have such mad tactics. Oh, that looks really nice. That actually looks really nice. It gets me, you know. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, no, that looks amazing. That looks amazing, actually. That looks really good. Like, really good. I suppose this needs to be the Mark 1 and this gets to be the Mark 2. Yeah, that is so good. That's actually really nice looking. That's really cool, man. That's really cool. Just, I mean, that looks so incredibly unique. I've never seen someone else build a sort of farmer extension that looks like that. That's really nice. I should experiment with I mean, this obviously isn't going to work like that, sadly, but... Oh, don't crash on me, Reassembly, don't crash, please. Okay. Okay, I think Reassembly's a little tired, so I'm gonna leave it alone for a few seconds. At least I'm gonna leave the builder constructor alone for a few seconds. But yeah, no, that looks... I'm actually really sad I didn't give any of this defend weave to the Sentakova. Then again, that does take up a lot of cost. And within reason, it might not be all too effective. But bugger within reason, am I right? Give me a second. I need to formulate. Well, I don't even need a second, really. need to copy this T shape, and that works perfectly. I mean this little T is literally just the form of that. It's the T virus. Ah, it's funny. Well, at least it would be if anyone was laughing. That actually could work quite pleasantly. Could be. It could work quite pleasantly. Pleasantly. Honestly. Bum 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 ba-dum. Bum 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 ba-dum. Bum 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 ba-dum. If only, oh if only, oh if only. If only it could be as perfect as it had to be. If only, if only, if only I could add this tiny little bit of key to make it more flawless. More flawless, more flawless. If only, if only, if only. If only, if only that's the way that it could be. If only you could be so easy. Quite honestly, as simple as it might be to build in structures of square and circular. But now you see, as simple as it might be to build in square. There's more limitality than could ever be, even for somebody as simple as me. Unfortunately, suppose that's the way of every single day. Limitation upon them all. I'll get a nation. Much better. Sorry, I'm just ordering my my Sistasia Constructia. So I like to have my big battleships over in these corners. I think I've explained this to you before, that I go in order of size and system. So these are your light scouts, which go to your combat fighters, which go to your more bomber class, you know, high DPS, low maneuverability sorts of ships with a little more armor and more shielding, perhaps more costly, but they're usually not designed for high agility or maneuverability, though they still do have it, of course. They are more primarily designed to be a fighter with weapons, of course, a bomber. Well, all fighters have weapons, but you get what I mean, more anti-capital class weapons, missiles, those sorts of things, etc. And then we have the more utilitarian things, like the Stancia. Then, of course, we have our moderate. This really isn't much of a battleship. It's more of a cruiser, though I suppose 8,000 P is a dreadnought. So I suppose this would be more of a cruiser in my books. This is getting up to be a battleship. A few more, about 200 more P, and you have a battleship. This thing is a dreadnought for sure. And of course we have our stations, which should be ordered better than that. Well, actually this is non-combat, but still I usually order it. Even Evanelis. Just a cute little station, though it lacks any sane and logical retort for existence. Reality will ask it, why do you exist? And it will reply, I don't know. Which is not the most pleasant statement, so I refuse to let it live like that. Yeah. Let's give it a few more structural points. Nice. Okay, the Evanelis is now a little more higher functioning, I suppose, would be the incorrect term for it, really, but, I mean, is it an issue? This should be fine. Right. Pania Flaudia, as well as its other counterparts. This is terribly organized. Really, what level of drunken stupor was I in for half of this season? The Combined Department of Supreme Greenery. I really quite love that name. It's quite nice. The Lactros is a little nice production structure center. I hesitate to really call it nice, but it is pleasant looking. Lacks any growing mounts, and that is a point of concern. I feel it should have some growing mounts. That's not the worst thing that can happen to it, surely. Actually, honestly, what would happen if I just made an extension? So give me a second. Don't know why I did that. I could just copy it another bit. Whatever. Sad that it doesn't click onto there. Whatever. This is Reassembly after all. Shame. Much as we love the game, it's never had a very... Okay, better. Right, give me a second. Right, let's get right back into it. Let's... I suppose I could do that, I guess, wouldn't I? Okay, not the worst. Pardon me. Ooh. Pardon me indeed. Yeah, we'll just have that there, and I'll have this here. Nice, okay. That actually looks quite good. I kind of actually like that. Now, what would be interesting is if I had what I call a self-recursive constructor system, where it will literally feed its own systems. Some might view it as cannibalism, but I view it as progress. That's obviously a complete and total joke. Cannibalism is not okay, people. I laugh because I want to desensitize the entire situation. No, because I want it to not sound crazy. Too late. Alright. This also gives me a better place to store the missiles. All the missiles! All the missiles! We'll just bed them there, unfortunately. Bow wah wah. Bow wah wah. Bow wah wah. Bow wah wah. Wah wah. Bummaru, bummaru, bunnaru, sunzaru, bannaru, bambaru, bambaru, There we go, the Lactros. Lactrostracia. I like Lactrostracia. That sounds cool. There we go. Look at our Beterian Republic. Look at it. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous, man. Look at this machine of epicness. Look at that. Sadly, this is not the latest variant, so it's unfortunate, but you get the idea. Oh, it's gorgeous. Well, everybody, yeah, it's fine. Well, everybody, I think that's a nice point to end off the Beterian Republic. Yeah, I know, a bit sad, but you know, I want some finality to the series, and it's been going a long time, and I feel like it should probably retire. So, as one would expect from the farmers, let's go quietly into that deep, dark space. So thank you everybody for joining me through the Beterian Republic. This is the last episode. Well, unless I make another, which could be. But for the sake of some closure, this is the end, my friend. This is the end of the Beterian Republic. So we shall leave our little buddies floating here through the very mists and darkest times of space, left to what one would almost equate to universal bliss. Silence in the vast expanses of space, in the cold, quiet husks of a universe slowly existing itself away. In amongst time immemorial, there were those few green ships that through space, with great, gorgeous engines, propelled themselves, and built up vast empires of seething purple energy, mixed between their dark and light green buildings, as the yellow leaflets of their plants jettisoned into the great darkness of space, and that purple resource sludged itself all across the place like some beautiful jelly. A jelly to be eaten by many, many empires to come. So until next time, everybody, cheery, reary-o.